Vinyl Community, day number 8, 2 hands, no thumbs. This video number 7, day number 7, Mr. Fantasy by Traffic. Today I want to talk about Bob Dylan, Desire. I just saw Alex posted. It's so funny because I listened to this on my way to work today, and Alex, I saw he posted this, Mr. Dylan Records, as some of you know him by, but which you would expect. I mean, he's Mr. Dylan Records. Of course he has this album. Or at least he should have this album. This is from 1975. Just a fantastic album. This really kind of... I love this album for a couple of reasons, and I guess I'll share it to you here. This may be a little bit longer. I'll tell a little more, some more stories rather than kind of talking about the album. This kind of is like a funkadelic album where it's like you got to listen to it. Words cannot describe. I cannot summarize what this album sounds like. I'll tell you some of the good tracks on it, but really, this is an album that should be digested in as a whole, basically. So, in Pittsburgh, there used to be 2 rock stations. Now there's really only one, and LJ and I had kind of a laugh about this yesterday. But anyhow, the one radio station that they used to play like just what they would refer to as like deep cuts. They would do like their lunchtime where you could call in and request whatever you wanted to. So you heard some like pretty far out stuff, like that you just wouldn't normally hear on the radio, like like Ride Captain Ride or something like that. I mean, that's something you may hear every so often, but they used to play 13th Floor Elevators. Like they would, no joke, like they would play that on the radio. And so it was some Saturday, and they just do these songs where it's just like, you give them an album and you tell them a song and they'll play it. It doesn't matter if it's a B-side or an A-side or whatever. And so I'm driving in my car, and I remember this, and I mean, I was probably like 18 years old at the time, maybe like 18 or 19, something like that. And I'm driving in my car, and I'm listening to the radio, and it's sort of like one of those deals where I just sort of got in the car, and I flipped to their station, and Hurricane, which leads off this album, which is just a phenomenal song. It's like 8 minutes or something like that. And Hurricane is on, and I just pulled the... No joke. This is the only time that I've ever done this in my lifetime. People always talk about, like, oh, this song was so amazing, and blah, 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 and I had to do this, and I was crying, and blah, blah. No, this is the only time I've ever done this. I pulled my car into, like, a Burger King. It was, like, just on the side of the road. I was driving, pulled in, and I got out I had a little notebook, with my school stuff, and I just started frantically writing down the lyrics to Hurricane so I could see if I could figure out what the heck it was. And I mean, you got to think about this. I mean, even 10 years ago, Google and all that, we didn't have SoundHound. We didn't have an application that I could just press a button on my phone and be like, oh yeah, that's that song. You know what I mean? Like, I had to actually seek it out. So I'm just like writing this down, and I know that what I'm thinking that he's saying is just completely different, because I instead of it being like Reuben Carter, or I think that's what he says, I can't remember. I think I was writing like Ivan Carter and Hot Blue Jersey Night, I think is the lyrics of it. But I think I wrote down Hot Blue Chelsea Night, and I mean I remember just like scribbling these down as fast as I could, trying to get as many lyrics as I could together. And then I was going to go on the internet later on and look it up. But, of course, turned out to be from this album. And, I mean, I think at the time, I really didn't identify it. I didn't put it together that it was Bob Dylan, because to me it just didn't... I mean, it just sounded so foreign, like I didn't know what the heck it was. And I was blown away. And then, like, that following Sunday, I found out that it was on this album. And I went to the flea market, and somebody was selling this for like $3, and I was like, "Oh, this is just such a pristine copy." Just one of the really early albums that I had in my collection. But and I feel kind of two ways about this album. A lot of people like Blood on Tracks or Desire. Like, it's usually like divided. I lean towards Desire a little bit more, and I'll tell you why. I think, to me, Bob Dylan is very sacred. Like, people, we've talked about sacred cows with the Beatles and things like that. But I think, to me, Bob Dylan is like, I pretty much just played the crap out of Bob Dylan when I was like probably like 19 through at least 22 or so. You know what I mean? kind of like somehow some people listen to Led Zeppelin, like people listen to those albums over and over and over again. Like I really wouldn't say I could listen to Led Zeppelin just for pleasure. I mean, if I was like banging one out or something like that, drinking with friends, whatnot, having a good time, I would probably put on Led Zeppelin, but it's just not one that I can just put on. I don't know, it's weird. But I think, like I said, it seems like it's kind of divided between two camps. They did a like bootleg, Bob Dylan bootleg, like the official bootlegs, which is the Rolling Thunder Review, and man, like that time period to me was just definitely a rebirth for Bob Dylan, and I use that word because if a lot of people know, Blood on the Tracks is a very emotional album, and that's another thing. Like I really don't listen to Bob Dylan unless it's like an emotional thing. Except today, I just was like, I need to put that album on. I haven't listened to it for a while, but I feel like his songs are, they're very lyrical. You think about songs like Idiot Wind, which is on Blood on the Tracks, the wind blowing through the flowers of your tomb. Like think about that for a second. You know what I mean? Blood on Your Saddle. I mean, that's not on this song, but I mean, just some of the imagery, that Bob Dylan, like his apocalyptic thing. Sometimes it's a little intense. It really, if you listen to the lyrics, and people, there's definitely those people that say, I don't like Bob Dylan because, I don't like the sound of his voice. They're missing it. You're missing the point. It's about the lyrics. It's about the music, and it's about the lyrics. It's not about how he sings them. And an excellent example is The Hurricane, where just, so I know some people maybe have seen the Denzel Washington movie, and, it's, the song just, it fades out. All this, racial strife and just injustice. The whole song is just, that's all it is. It's all you're hearing. It's just like, you can't believe what you're hearing. And at the end, it's just like, there's nothing else to say. Bob Dylan just takes it out with the harmonica. He just blows the harmonica, and that's the end of the song, which is just, it's just mind-blowing. But kind of getting back, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around, so I'm just talking so much. It's so awesome. I love this album. But Blood on the Tracks is sort of, I guess the best way to describe it, and like I was saying, in the emotional sense, is, he sort of was going through a breakup with his wife, and was kind of like his Blood on the Tracks is kind of his way to he wanted to kind of rekindle the relationship, I guess. So a lot of those songs are what I would consider love songs, and I think everybody has kind of gone through that, where you may be in a relationship with somebody and you love them, and you maybe you break up and you try to like patch it together, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, that's life. But with that particular album, to me, it's either like, you're gonna play that album if you need to get girls, or if you need to kind of work them out of your system. Now, this album, I believe, is like a celebration album. You know what I mean? It's kind of that, going back, speaking back with the relationship, it's like once you've broken up with somebody, and then you're just kind of like, you look back on it, and that's what Desire is. He's looking back, and he's sort of just saying, you know what? Everything's going to be all right, and it's just kind of like you realize that you're free again, and it's just, you know what I mean? You go off the handle. That's the way that I anticipate that. But I mean, I may be saying that because that may or may not have happened to me at the same time I was sort of discovering these albums. No, I mean, I feel that when I listen to these albums, and again, this, to me, Desire, I think is sort of the celebration album, where it's just sort of, it seems like it's just kind of like a party album. He just had a band of minstrels together, and they were just getting down, playing music, and it was just having a great time. And I'll give you some of the track listings. Of course, Hurricane, Isis, like, oh my god, Isis, just fantastic, very lyrical. I married Isis on the 5th day of May, couldn't hold on to her very long. I could go on and on and on and on. Mozambique, again, I like to spend some time in Mozambique where the women dance cheek to cheek. One More Cup of Coffee is just so good, and it's another one. I mean, every single one of these, even Oh Sister. I mean, I would say that this is, to me, honestly, this is a perfect album. This is a perfect album. Every single song on here is perfect. Sarah, Joey is another one that's kind of a long, another one. It's having Joey and having Hurricane, I mean, Hurricane is the better of the two, obviously, but Joey kind of follows the same sort of story. Black Diamond Bay, Romance in Durango, just fantastic, just absolute album. So again, if this is not in your collection, definitely go out, seek it out. Usually it's a pretty common record, but has Emmylou Harris in it, so it's kind of funny because she does a lot of the she sort of does the background vocals and all that. So of course she did stuff with Graham Parsons and even Bright Eyes. I say recently, but that was almost like 10 years ago now. So there you have it, Day Number 8, fantastic album. So put this on and have a ball. So signing off. We'll see you tomorrow.